Greetings, fellow subscribers to reality, instead of to, shall we say, insane ideas. Speaking of insane ideas, this is a short talk in the trailer where the old guy just got off work. It's a Sunday afternoon, it's not quite 3 yet. So anyway, 7 hours out there today. Made some hours in, that's good. That's kind of what I've been looking for, so I'm just going to keep pushing, see if I can rack some up. Pretty soon it'll become the new normal and I won't have to keep fighting for it. I've done this before. Anyway, the point is, I just thought I was, once again, I'm watching too much of this YouTube crap. Golly, some of the stuff I'm looking at, it's just so sad what's going on out in Maui out there. Them crooked, twisted bastards. Turned off the water, really? Never turned on the siren, really? Had police cars holding people in from leaving the burn area, really? And here's the thing that I was looking at today. Of course, I can't remember even the video. I was probably watched 20 of these things before I went to work. I got up early and couldn't sleep. So I thought, well, why not get up? It was like 4:40 or 4. It might have been 5. I don't know. But anyhow, the one that bothered me the most was the Maui fire thing. Because, the chemtrails that do not exist, the ones that the government assures us do not exist. And we know them to have never lied to us in the past on anything. Is that correct? Let me think about that. But anyway, the frauds and cheats continue to maintain that A, they don't exist, and B, if they did, they'd be good for you. And so they're finding out bauxite and aluminum in kind of ultra fine, real powdery form. Well, guess what? You can't keep that stuff aloft forever. You dump it up at whatever it is, 27 or 36,000 feet, however high they are, I don't know. It ain't going to stay suspended forever. It's going to come down, and then it'll poison the water and the earth. Oh, great. But in the meantime, until that happens, it just so happens, this is like, you ever heard of fire retardant? Or this is like a propellant. I mean, this would be like dumping gasoline on the sucker. One of the reasons the fire was burning so crazy and so hot is because of the aluminum and bauxite that it invaded the grass. Thanks, DARPA. That was really clever, dumping that crap in the sky. Plus, you're only poisoning everyone. Winning concept. And so, in other words, they do want to kill people, I guess, right? I mean, they've openly said it in the past, and now that Georgia Guidestones came down, I don't know who took those up. I don't know who put them down, but they were there for a little while. And I don't even know where they went. Like the Georgia Guidestone Museum? Yeah, I don't know where they go. Where's that? Probably in Saudi Arabia. But at any rate, the thing is, I just was looking at that kind of stuff, and it's just so, I was thinking so much about this last week, and now I didn't even go to church today because I had to work, and, they're just killing her mother here, It's like, you do realize that there is a chain of connected events that when you start killing the ecosystem, eventually you die too. In other words, we depend on a system, on a pattern. And they're just screwing it up. They're doing everything they can to foul this up. And, which is kind of typical for bureaucrats when you think about it. That's kind of your basic, curve there, in terms of expertise, craftsmanship. That's what you'd expect from a bureaucrat. Crap. But, and it would take a long time, too. The thief in charge, currently squatting at 1600 Penn, has opened the wide wallet of the good people of America to come to the assistance of the family stricken in the tragedy of Hawaii. And so each and every household gets $700. That's insulting, dude. You disgusting pig. And meanwhile, he's got 40, that's a 4 with a 0 after it, billion to go dump in that miserable graveyard that he's turning the Ukraine into. This guy. Okay, don't get me started. But the thing is that the 4-letter word, yes. I just want to affirm, justice shall be done. God is coming, and this will be uncovered. God is not going to let this ride. No. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that, Joe. Trust me. Nobody can afford it. No human could tolerate it. And in fact, people don't even believe it's real. They don't even think God's coming. And they don't think, if he ever does show up, that he would be coming as a warrior king to judge and to burn. To burn so that there's nothing left. Nothing. In fact, the world itself swept away. The stars in heaven pulled out of the sky. I mean, where are you, church, on this? And this is one of the things. It's just like it sounds like what we're calling this. However you say this word, I'll probably pronounce it wrong. Sidereal, Sideral. The sidereal universe. I think I got that right. Essentially, is going away. Remember the creation logo, the word logo, who spake and all things came to be. Well, guess what? He's just holding his note. His speaking power is still holding things together, the fabric of reality, if you want to call it that. Whether it's an infinite layer of dimensionality or, 4 dimensions. I don't know how many dimensions are involved. How would I know? But it says the heavens and the earth, so as well as below. He made it all by the word of his power. And so what if he just stops saying it? What if he, like those opera singers, carry a note forever, sorry, you don't want to hear that. And it just keeps going. But it turns out that's holding the universe together. Well, it's just an idea of mine. But in other words, we're talking about big time here, Bubba. This ain't some mere historical event. It's the end of the universe as we know it. And it might be within just a few years. We don't know. I don't want to set dates, but I mean, I think Jesus could come, and I don't believe he could come at any time. That's one of the things I wanted to say. I'm not a rapturist, and that was one of their key tokens, because you see, in the 1800s when this hocus pocus was invented, that was the tagline: Jesus could come at any time, and that became a neo-orthodox orthodoxy. There's nothing orthodox about it. It's just absolute crap. It's batshit crazy, and it defies the scripture. And so the way they got around that little issue there, because the apostle seems to insist that the Son of Man shall not, I said shall not, come back, shall not return, before 2 things happen. You go look them up. But they must have happened first, or he won't come. Well, how does that fit with he could come at any time? That doesn't make any sense. And so there's been a horrendous amount of disaster done in the church with so-called esoteric, not so much esoteric, more like this pre-tribulational rapture jive. And whether it's right at the beginning of the 7 years, where'd 7 come from? Or if it's right in the middle at the beginning of the 3.5 years period. That one I can kind of live with a little bit. But in other words, the idea is that it's the church that's going to get lifted away. They've got it exactly backwards. It's the Spirit who is lifting off, and it is out of sheer disgust. The great abomination, the abomination of desolation, I've looked it up over and over on various authors and stuff, and I've never met anybody as a human who confesses like I do, and so I'm certainly not in a, shall we say, majority position here. But the way I see the abomination of desolation, go back and read the book of Hebrews. Read the Hebrews book and understand what it's about. It's to Hebrews, to the Hebrews. You cannot go back now and reestablish bloody sacrifice on an altar in Jerusalem and expect to in any way appease the Almighty, as if this was some new and superior, perhaps, reintroduction of the same old stuff, which had been replaced at Calvary. The blood of bulls and goats will not do, and in fact, it is a stench. It is the ultimate insult that you think that you can somehow atone for your sins on your own by bringing in dead cows and stuff. Apparently you haven't been listening. And so, I believe that the abomination is not the cessation of sacrifice. It is the inauguration of sacrifice. And if it did happen, and if it was on that Yom Kippur of 1 October 2025, I've got some bad news for you. We're in it at that time. And I would expect the Spirit to lift off. Now, when the Spirit lifts off, yes, many Christians may die. I conclude that. I mean, how do I know? You have 2 flavors of grace. Now, I don't want to get too weird because that would be nuts. God's not, schizophrenic. But there's common grace, which even the wicked enjoy. They don't know it, and they hardly ever have the presence of mind to thank God or anyone for it. But they'll just say, it was a lucky day, or, I've lived a good life, or something like that. They certainly aren't going to thank the maker of that, or the one who provided, or anything. Oh, no, that's way too narrow-minded and old-fashioned, see. We're all modern, all about modernity. Let's make a robot that's smarter than I am. and then we'll have it rule the world. That's what they're calling their little Antichrist. But it's got to have a three-legged bond. It's sort of like an anti-Trinity. I'm getting carried away. I'm running ahead, so let me just slow down and start and come back. The A of D is in the book of Daniel. It does not say that he shall cause the cessation of sacrifices in the temple. It says that he shall cause the cessation of the dailies. And scriptural interpreters and translators interpret that as the daily sacrifices at the temple. What else could he possibly mean? Except consider who's writing the book. Daniel and his friends. Where was their temple? Where was their daily sacrifices? Hundreds of miles away. But Daniel went to his room every day. In fact, this got him in trouble more than once. And prayed. And what was he doing? He was offering a thanksgiving praise. He was offering an offering of thanks, God, for all, what you've done and who you are and just how wonderful you are. And he prayed every day. He'd even leave the door open. You want to know what I'm doing in here? I ain't got no secrets. I'm talking to the Almighty. This guy, he's square up. That Daniel guy, he rocks, man. But anyway, the point is, the church has stumbled along, bumble, that in order for the A of D to occur, first you must re-inaugurate sacrifice for it to be cessated, don't you know? Because you can't cessate something that don't exist. Cessate, I don't even think that's a word. But in other words, the point is, you can't get any lower than that. You can't become more despicable, more vile, more devilish. You can't become more evil than to suggest somehow that the cross and the sacrifice at Calvary was to somehow be replaced by some phony baloney quasi-high priest with his imaginary little Ark of the Covenant and whatnot. Get out of here. Shut up. That's disgusting, man. And that's the way the church should say it, but she can't and she won't. Because she's committed, she's wedded herself to this insane theology, which says that the master could come at any time. Well, where did they get away with that crap? Well, what it was, if you can imagine the top of my head, because it's a nice landing spot, well, that's the surface of the earth. Here comes Jesus, looks a lot like my right fingers. How about that? He got awfully blasted close. You'll notice, though, that he didn't quite touch. Got down there, oh, so close, and took off. What was that? Oh, he was picking up the church, see? What? Yeah, they invented this whole idea that somehow the world was going to be vacated, except for, weirdly enough, I don't know why, Jewish believers who believe in Jesus, but all the Gentiles taken off. I don't get what this is about. It's kind of a little racist, for my opinion. And, hey, let's just get all the people out of here before things get bad. Well, what about the Jews? Heck with them. That's just bad, man. Don't go there. But anyway, I'm not a rapturist, so I think you probably figured that out by now. But the way that it's moving here in our lives, look at the news or whatever, and it's just this series of collapses. It's like, it's hard to believe how ugly and mean and vile people can be. And but yet, kind of knew it all along. I mean, I'm that way, and it's only by His grace that I don't just act it out. Go blow something up. I would have made a great arsonist. I mean, if Adam had run wild and the Lord hadn't gotten hold of him, I would have either suicided out or become an arsonist. Blow shit up, man. Burn it down. And anyway, he did. He's just that good. I didn't have to go all the way to prison, for arson and killing people in the process, So I'm thankful to the Lord for that. And I'm sure the people who are still living would be if they only knew that I didn't kill them. You know what I mean? No, what are you talking about? So, anyway, it's a long day. And I'm just sitting here having a Modelo Negra, trying to keep the air moving. I got the fan over there. It's not a hot one. It's like 96, 98, something like that. So I just wanted to say, in terms of this A of D, the abomination, it is when the cessation of what? The dailies. When would that be? When would the people of God, when would the children of the Lord, when would the church gathered from out across cease in her daily praise thanksgiving? Why would she do that? Because she believed that the great rapture had occurred and she'd been left behind. That's why. That's why I don't like this doctrine. I simply will not allow it in my mind, because it's just cruel. It's ruthless, man. And it ain't right either, because the Bible says, it makes it very clear that there are many, many saints who were killed during that great tribulation. In fact, they lost their heads, literally, for Jesus. And they're up there kind of going, hey, what's the hold up here? Let's see some action. You know what I mean? You said you're the God of justice. Let's roll. That's well, they didn't say it quite like that, but that's what they meant. And trust me, yeah, I was there. No, I wasn't. I just floated with it. But the thing is, in terms of all this end time speculation and all that stuff, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is this. You know, I could see Jesus coming in 5 years, 6 years. It could happen. It might take 50, it might take 100. But it can't take 1,000. In other words, I do not believe that the great God will allow this abomination that they're brewing. And see, the abomination may have more than one aspect. I see it as the reinauguration in a bloody sacrifice by a phony, baloney high priest under Jewish auspices, so to speak, to atone for the sins of Israel. That's as low as you can go. That starts the clock right there, the day that happens. And so, in other words, if you'll just do the math, just count the days. 1290, where's that put you? Guess what? 13 April, 2029. The day that Tom Horn says there's going to be a big hot rock coming in. Apophis. And of course, NASA says this over and over. Oh, don't worry. Trust me when I say that 100% I've never lied about anything that I recall saying, that is to say. I don't remember lying to you, so anyway, I think, trust me, yeah. So in other words, they're saying, well, it's going to miss, you know, real close, like 18,000 miles away. You're telling me you're that good? You're that good at tracking the orbits of objects that are millions and millions and millions of miles away, that you can say exactly how far it's going to come? Get out of here. Stop that. This from the same group of people who tried to land a lander on Mars. Somebody forgot to mention, one guy was using feet and the other guys were using inches, or meters and inches. They had two engineering teams and they were using different measures, trying to put that thing down on a planet. Oops. But looking at things, I just I so enjoy. I watched about 3 of these videos by young black guys. I don't know who these guys are, but there's a lot of them out there, and you know, they're good. They're, you know, just like me, professional, and they do their own thing. And some of them are, you know, slick it up, make it more professional. They got their own, you know, product line, you know, T-shirts and stuff like that. And can you imagine buying one of my Mike Labor T-shirts? This is the one I got at the thrift store for $1.25. But anyhow, these young guys, they're looking at these videos about stuff like, well, you know, there's this black guy or this black lady, whatever, and they're gonna, like, you know, walk the wild side here, and they're gonna walk right into a Trump rally, see what happens. So they meet all these white people. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. All right. Hey, you want a beer? You know, or whatever they're doing. And he's, you know, the people are kind of going, oh, man, I thought by now there'd be a lynching, you know. And people just, hey, chill out, you know. Come on, we're human beings too. And even though we are the wrong color, anyhow. So there was this one today, and they were contrasting. There was these left-wing people screaming about, you know, the usual left-wing thing, which is apparently some race to see who can get to the edge of utter irrelevance first. That's important. So they were chanting and ranting and raving, and there was these crazy people with megaphones yelling inane things over and over, though, so that makes it different. Anyway, so the black guy and the white chick who's doing the interview, they both go down there. Okay, now you've seen how you were treated among the Trumpers, you know. You weren't roughed up, you weren't, you know, talked down to, you weren't, you know, made fun of or anything. Let's go see how we get treated by the other side. Night and day. And just rude, vile, ugly, stupid too, real stupid. I mean, it's just like, is there anything going on between your ears other than racket? And you know, use your head for something other than a hat rack, please. But it's just the difference. But anyway, you watch these young black guys, because see, they're watching the tape, so to speak, with you. So you're watching him watch it, so to speak. And guys, I light up. What is going on? Just funny, you know. When you're around good people, you know, and you say, hey, you know what? You're straight up. I don't care what color you are. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're homeless or not. Yeah, I'll talk to you. And you can tell when you're talking to good folk, and it really don't matter about their color. But it might matter to some. To me, I remember being younger. I went down to the prison one time. We were doing a thing called Kairos, and I haven't done one of those in years. But anyway, we were doing a presentation, and I had to do a little talk. And so I just wanted to share this with you and kind of wrap this up. But anyway, we were talking, and it gives you a little room. It gives you basically a course direct. Don't forget to cover this info, boom, boom, boom. But that's just a fraction of it, because you need to fill in with your own personal life how this means something to you. You know what I mean? And so I think mine involves something about love or something like that. Like that's a pretty radical idea for Christians to be in favor of. And I guess some of them are. And anyway, the point I made, and there was a cop killer in the room, and everybody knew it, and he was respected in the room, but remember, you're in a prison. And he was an okay guy. Joel, I believe his name is. I haven't seen that guy in years. I hope he's still alive. But anyway, I said something like, I never did. I'm not going to advocate for so much for love out here today. This is like more than 25 years ago, so I wasn't nearly as eloquent as I am now. Anyway, sorry, got carried away. So I said, I'm not going to advocate for love. You know what? You guys have probably heard that. You know what? Why not? What would happen if we switched it and went the other way? You know what I mean? What if you heard Christians say, "Well, I hate this, I hate that, I hate everybody, I hate this." That's pretty popular too, but that's more political, ain't it? But in other words, what do you hate? Do you hate what's wrong? Do you hate what's evil? Think about it. You got a child predator. How's he going to do in the yard? Really? Come on. You hate what's evil, right? Because you're a human being, and now you've done things. I've done things that are evil too. Join the club. But the thing was, and the thing I never understood was this racist crap. I never understood how you could be so damn small-minded and parochial as to only hate one kind of people. Hate them all! Burn it down! And that caught his ear. He knew he was in for a friendship there. And we were friends. I haven't seen the guy in years, but I sometimes think of him. Yeah, I might even pray for him too if I remember. But our prayer lives are going to have to grow up now. When you look around at the so-called administration and what they're doing, or not, or mismanaging this week or this moment, or lying about again under oath. You look at this, it's just like horrible. But it's not entirely and solely simply Democrat inaction stuff. There's a spiritual aspect. There are powers of the air behind this. We do not fight against Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. They are not the true enemy. However, inviting that would be to level my target on them. No, they are slaves. They are personal Negroes. They're personal to the powers that be down there. They haven't been enslaved. They've sold their soul. And they are not our enemy in the sense of me wanting to destroy them personally. However, the death penalty might apply, and in fact, if they asked me to pull the switch, I'd pull it. If they asked me to be the one to pull the trigger, I'd pull it. I believe the death penalty applies, and it's real. And the reason that we have so much chaos and lies is because it went away. And for everything that all the opposers of the death penalty have to say, I defy them to ever show me one example of a death penalty, shall we say, employee who ever went on to hurt anybody again. Ever. Once they're dead, they're dead. And that's where they ought to be. Even prisoners know it. It's funny that the felons of the United States are some of the most justice-oriented men in the world, apparently, because they know what to do with a child predator. And these are the great ones among us, yeah? So anyhow, it's funny, I didn't even miss going to church today, and I guess I'll go next week. I kind of feel obligated that I ought to go, but I don't know what for. And, feeling lonely, it can kind of hurt your heart and kind of make you feel bad. But, the Lord Jesus, He knows our hearts, and He knows how to comfort us in His own way. And it's excellent. It's just so clean and right and good and solid. It's dependable. And so I don't feel left high and dry. I don't left feel all lonely and weepy. Oh, nobody cares about me, or that stuff. Who cares about that stuff? I just let him know my heart hurts. I wish I had a friend, but I'll keep on keeping on because that's what you want. That's how you are, Jesus. Jesus, you didn't quit just because the shit came down. In fact, you stood up. And you never gave up, and you never shall. That's why I love you. It's just one of the reasons. Let's work on that list.